Hello, I'm Zash, and welcome to episode 69 of my Senjou no Maou, or the Devil on G-String, Let's Read. Joining me, as always, is my co-reader Faith. Last episode, we learned a lot about Kyohei's background, and his journey in becoming the villain known as Maou. And don't tell anyone I said this, but I think Faith is really interested in him now. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. She sat silent for over an hour as I talked about Mao's backstory. But anyways, that's over, and we are continuing. So, please enjoy this next episode. The next day, I invited Tokita to my apartment. How did Miss Noriko react?
She forgave me for the most part. Yuki, let us be there for you. Ellipses.
She seemed somehow discontent. Alright, now you can tell me about Maou.
I don't know all that much.
Tokita started at the beginning, when she first met Maou. The more I heard, the more I understood Mao's true power. So, what did Maou want from you in return?
He never made that clear. I always assumed he wanted to use my father.
I don't get it. What's he trying to do, gathering these children? Maou seems to like playing with people's minds. Where is Maou hiding?
Very close to this apartment complex. Not to scare you. I should mention, however, that this particular location is likely only one of his lairs.
Well, we have to start somewhere.
Too late. I checked it and it was completely empty.
Not a single hint?
No. In fact, he left the door unlocked, presumably to mock me. I searched the place from top to bottom, but there wasn't even a single strand of hair on the floor.
Tokita spoke up, as if pondering something.
It seems Maou went to the Sano Corporation building often. Yeah. Something suspicious was going down there yesterday as well.
Then, as if she just thought of something, Usami pulled out the notebook she had sketched a portrait in yesterday.
Have you ever seen this foreigner?
That foreigner might be Alan.
Might be.
Tokita's eyes narrowed.
I met him once. He said he was a mercenary.
A mercenary?
His name was... Oh. Alan, was that it? It's likely a fake name, though.
What did he talk to you about?
He was talking a little bit about his experiences on the field of battle. He said he'd long since retired, though. It seems as if he and Maou went back quite a bit.
This makes me all the more uneasy. Seeing as he managed to reel you, of all people, in, Tokita, Maou must be a highly skilled negotiator, correct?
He's a born linguist. Furthermore, he seemed to have studied the basics of negotiation, at least the textbook side. But above all, his skill comes from his ability to deceive people. He's so talented, you think he's mentally ill.
What do you mean by that?
Sociopaths occasionally lie without realizing that they're doing so. I don't think he's quite a sociopath, but his ability approaches that level. Maou has no qualms about killing people.
I nodded with a disgusted expression. The more I hear, the more I sigh. He's no longer the Kyohei I once knew, the strong, kind older brother who played video games with me. Mao's aim is to free my father, Semejima Toshikatsu.
Then what with all the hordes of henchmen, weapons, and funds? Maou must be going to... threaten someone with the power to free a convicted criminal. He'll say he planted a bomb somewhere, or the like.
Either that, or take hostages and hole himself up in the Senjou Corporation headquarters. They both nodded at what I said. I think Maou has a grudge against the Senjou Corporation. Dad's trial was completely biased towards Usami for some reason. The backstory, the fact that you could sympathize with what Dad did, was barely touched upon in court, and was never widely reported. It's been rumored that the current director of Senjou's senior management, one Mr. Somiya, might have been keeping it covered up. They say that if Usami's evil deeds had been let out of the bag, Somiya would have been arrested too. Let's get around downtown for now. Usami came with me. You have to babysit Shiratori, right, Tokita? She laughed.
Thanks for helping me out, Kyosuke-kun.
Whatever. Just get that money ready.
I'll be in touch. Say hi to Mizuha and Tsubaki for me.
We stepped outside. It was terribly cold.
Looks like it snowed last night.
The winter cold pierces my skin. Looks like it'll snow again today, too. Oh? Here's an unexpected caller.
Hiya! What's up, Nissan?
Yo! You overseas right now?
Yep. Cell phones have really evolved.
It was Canon, as carefree as ever.
Did Paparin really die?
Someone must have called her about it. The wake is today. You don't have to drop everything to come back.
I'm already at the airport.
Alright then. Call me when you land.
Yay! Are you gonna come pick me up?
Later.
Wait.
I hang up, cutting her off. Canon didn't seem too shocked. She might have been in denial about Gonzo's death. Now that I think about it, I can't help but pity Canon. A popular figure skater with a Yakuza boss father. Gonzo's threats have kept the scandals about Canon to a minimum, but from now on, who knows? And just by being Gonzo's daughter, she's almost certainly going to face some discrimination in the future.
Azai-san?
Usami looked over at me in an attempt to read my mind. Usami? A single member's dark path can lead a whole family to hell. I know that better than anyone.
What's the matter? Have you fallen in love with me?
I had sex with the girl, and consensually at that.
Don't stare at me like that. I'm getting all embarrassed.
That must be the reason I feel so off. Mind coming with me to the city offices?
For a marriage license?
In contrast to Usami's fooling around, I wasn't in the mood for jokes. A few hours pass. Sorry for the wait.
What's wrong with you leaving your fiancé at a hamburger joint?
They said I needed 2 witnesses, so it took a while.
You will explain what's going on here, won't you, Azai-san?
I'm not Azai anymore.
Huh?
I just renounced my adoption. I'm no longer Gonzo's foster son. From now on, I'm Samajima Kyosuke.
Seriously? Why?
I just felt like it. Call it closure, I guess.
But are you alright with that?
Yeah, Gonzo's dead and all. There's no point in continuing to leech off his name.
What should I call you from now on?
Whatever you want. Why not Kyosuke?
That's embarrassing, addressing you without an honorific.
Renouncing my adoption does nothing but swap out one government printout for another, but I somehow feel as if a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. Mom is dead, Kyohei became Maou, and Dad... I've done nothing but run away all this time. I should go see Dad.
Oh, wait. You and Canon aren't siblings anymore, are you?
What about it?
Nothing. I'm just a little jealous.
You'd be cuter keeping quiet about things like that.
You think?
Let's just head to the business district. We made our way to the Senjou Corporation building. It must be a weekend, as there are abnormal numbers of people out today.
Things were a lot quieter here yesterday.
Central Boulevard was as lively as usual. Hey, Kyosuke! Yo! It's been a while. Still kicking it, eh? That's my line, bro. I heard about the whole shebang from Yuki-sama. Why are you two keeping all to yourselves? No reason. I almost missed school, you know?
What happened with Miss Noriko and Akichi-san?
She's my woman these days. I was all sweet during that thing at the school, so she fell for me. I'm on my way to a date with her now, actually. I wonder about that. I made sure she didn't bear a grudge against Yuki-sama over the hostage case.
You're a real lifesaver.
Aichi, you hear any strange rumors in town lately? Rumors? Concerning Maou or anything? Nah, but something was going down last night. What do you mean? No less than 10 big trucks were hauling ass up Central. It was apparently some kind of publicity stunt for a local club. 10? You don't see that every day. And did you hear about what happened on the main road through the business district? Are you talking about the maintenance work going on up there? The thing about the sewage pipes or something? Yeah! They were fixing some burst pipes! So, the road's closed off then? No, that's just the beginning. Apparently, some punk who had been smoking too much crack or something up and attacked one of the workers there. That's going a bit too far for a prank, even if the kid was high. Alright, thanks. Later. Yeah, well, I don't know what's gotten into you two, but you better not go sticking your beaks into any more dangerous situations. He saw us off with an uncharacteristically serious expression.
What are we doing that we have to go all the way to the Senjou headquarters for?
Scouting. We'll pretend to be clients and snoop around. If we're lucky, we might even get a glimpse of Maou, or Hashimoto, or that foreigner. I met the director of senior management, a guy named Somia, when Senjou was developing the Eastern District. I'm not saying that it gives me the right to barge in and make an emergency appointment with him, but it's a passable excuse for being in the building. The front entrance to the Senjou Corporation headquarters. Despite the weekend, this building is in full swing. 2 black luxury sedans were stopped in front of the doors.
Azai-san, is that?
A politician steps out of the vehicle, surrounded by bodyguards in black suits. It's a man named Imagawa Senjou. He's a party leader in the government, and is on the news fairly often. He has quite the influence in the federal government. He serves the Prime Minister devoutly, acting as the spokesman for most of his policies, and there are rumors that he'll run for the party presidency next term.
Does Maou have connections with politicians as well?
If that's the case, he's probably not an enemy we can tackle on our own. Haru-chan? Is that you, Haru-chan? A voice suddenly calls out behind us.
Well, hey, Yuya-san. What's up?
It was Awai Yuya. He has a baby face, but a tight body reminiscent of a gymnast. What a pleasant surprise! Are you doing well? My dad has been wondering how you've been these days, too. He had a gentle smile, one so bright it was almost blinding. Hey. Oh, good to see you again. We met just a few days ago, remember? The rooftop? He was the man that sparked the return of my oldest memories of Usami. So, You two have finally been reunited? He seemed to be really happy about it. Yeah. That's wonderful! You two were like a little couple when you were younger.
I'm sorry for ignoring you entirely back then.
Haha, you were a strange one. I could never get up the courage to talk to you. This man's atmosphere was somewhat similar to Sabaki's, actually. He had the smell of someone who grew up in a happy family and led a happy life. Oh, have you two eaten yet?
No.
It's just about lunchtime, so if you don't mind, why not join me? I accepted Uwai's offer. Yeah, sure. We could eat lunch on the rooftop, like old times. Now, I have an excuse for being in the Sano Corporation building. Unaware of my ulterior motives, Uwai smiled. That sounds fantastic! There's a great cafeteria on the 3rd floor.
A business office like this has a cafeteria in it?
Of course! We have a restaurant, post office, and even a tailor. In fact, I think we just got a dentist the other day. These large corporations really are something else. Let's be on our way then. He held out his hand to us like a gentleman. They say you can tell the kind of life a person has led by looking at his hands. I'm not that perceptive, but even I noticed Uwai's rough hand contrasting his noble, gentle, superficial appearance. Oh, I worked part-time as a day laborer when I was younger. He defends himself shyly. He must have noticed my staring. His father may be a Sano executive, but he doesn't have the air of a spoiled child with no concept of hardship. Uwai Yuya is the kind of guy I can't look straight in the eyes. Megalipses. Ellipses. A handful of men swaggered into the Sano Corporation boardroom. Though Alan may be retired from the mercenary business, he still walks with complete silence. The other 3 mercenaries, posing as visiting businessmen, were glancing at their surroundings. There's nothing strange about a few suits carrying briefcases through a general trading company. They had carefully studied the map of this building beforehand. They could make it to their destination with closed eyes. That destination was Director Somiya's office on the 49th floor. As we suspected, he was busy with another visitor. Beside the locked door was a card reader, its red light shining to ward off any intruders. Ignoring the presumptuous LED, I slid a forged card through the slot and opened the door. Sorry to interrupt. I courteously apologize as we walk into the wide room. You! Director Somiya and the politician Imagawa were sitting down on a leather sofa. Imagawa's secretary and 3 Sano officials were also present. Last, but not least, 2 Secret Servicemen stood behind Imagawa. Bulges the size of pistols stood out from under their suit jackets. Who are you? How'd you get in here? One of the officers, a greasy middle-aged man, was in a panic. It's been a while, Mr. Somiya. How have you been? All the men in the room shifted their gaze onto Somiya. They're interrogating him with their glares, asking, "You know these intruders?" "This is the first time we've met during the day. Now that I see you in the light, I can say for certainty you're as young as I thought." He spoke with resignation. "What do you want, Maou?" "You're a brave man. I like that you refuse to hide my identity, even in this situation. You're an important business partner. I'll take this opportunity to introduce you to everyone. This man has been supporting the Sano Corporation behind the scenes. Pleased to meet you, sir. Your representative, Imagawa." correct? Imagawa's face contorted a bit in response. I had obviously known about Imagawa's meeting with Somiya beforehand. It's time to pay the piper, Mr. Somiya. I'm here to collect for those many years of service. Is that so? He nodded, like he was prepared for this.
Somiya-san, what's going on here?
The second Imagawa turned to face Somiya, the sound of gunshots rang out, and the two Secret Service men fell to the floor. One bullet to the head each. It served as a splendid performance. After a brief moment of shock, the screams of executives filled the air. Quiet. We won't kill you. The only ones not screaming were Somiya and Imagawa.
What's your agenda?
He has no problem finding words, even in this situation. Top-notch politicians are made of different stuff. This is a nice office, Director. I look around the room. You've even got a bathroom. And is that refrigerator over there for keeping your beer cool? Yeah, along with a few snacks. It's just about perfect for spending a night or two at the office. That's ideal. Now, everyone, put your hands on your head until I tell you otherwise. Right, like that. Gather in the corner of the room. Somiya encouraged everyone to follow my orders. Listen to what he says. He's serious. You're awfully obedient. I always knew this day would come. Your name is Maou, after all. You're not going to press the emergency button under your desk? Somiya feebly smiled. The Metropolitan Police have no chance against people who killed two Secret Service in an instant. You would be wise to give up too, Imagawa. Don't get any silly ideas. Imagawa had his arm to his chest, looking for a chance to get something from his pocket. He was most likely trying to get in contact with his bodyguards waiting outside. I was satisfied with the results. Now, there are 3 places in this building we need to secure right away. The first is the 49th floor, including Somiya's office. We're currently there, and it has been secured satisfactorily. We've succeeded in capturing the hostages. Next is the 47th floor computer room, which controls this entire building. A single supercomputer housed there regulates the skyscraper's ventilation, heating, electricity, and telephone system. If we can commandeer it, we can control all of the passages in the building, be they fire doors, emergency shutters, or the main gate. Lastly, we need to keep our eyes on the rooftop. This is the most likely insertion point for any police operations against us. We need to have someone guarding the rooftop at all times. Alan, I'm leaving this place to you for now. I patted Alan's shoulder and left the room. Megalipses. Ellipses. To tell the truth, I always wanted to be friends with you guys as a kid. He happily reminiscens as he prods his lunchbox with his chopsticks. I saw you two up here a lot. Was there some atmosphere around us that made us seem unapproachable? Yeah, you two are dating, right?
Are we? Azai-san?
I shook my head. No way.
Ah! How could you do this to me?
Oh? I see. Hawaii smiled like Tsubaki again. Are you single? For some reason, I felt the need to know.
Yuya-san's father was trying to convince me to marry Yuya, so I guess so. or am I wrong?
Hawaii groaned. That old geezer. I can't believe he's still going on about that. Wait, really? Are Usami and Hawaii that close? Don't get the wrong idea, though. My dad just really respects Haru-chan's father, so he feels sorry for her. Well, it's not like I care. Okay, I did kind of care, but I couldn't help but be a little pissy. Sorry if I upset you. I'm 26 now, so my father is always going on about me finding a good wife. Usami? A good wife? He has quite strange tastes.
There he goes sulking again.
I stood up and walked over to the fence encircling the rooftop. I looked down upon the cityscape from the skyscraper's roof. This place really has grown. The city has annexed dozens of nearby towns as suburbs, simply to house its rapidly expanding economy and its workers. When I first met Usami, there wasn't even a central boulevard. I looked straight down. I'm not afraid of heights, but the sheer power of this sight sends shivers down my back. The window cleaning gondola hanging from the outer wall just emphasize how far from the ground I am.
Thinking back on old times?
Just then, the rooftop steel door opened. A dark-skinned, chiseled-faced man stood behind it. The tall foreigner glared at the three of us. He's wearing a suit and carrying a briefcase, so I assume he's an employee taking a break. Down the stairs with the lot of you! He spoke rather fluent Japanese. I couldn't tell if he looked to be in his 20s or 40s. Another similarly dressed foreigner followed him onto the rooftop. They both had stern looks in their eyes. Is something the matter? The foreigner ignored Awai's question and reached for his pocket. I felt a cold chill run down my spine. I said, get in there! With an intimidating tone of voice, he pointed a gun at us. Who are you? Just do as I say. The other man had also pulled a gun. You're our hostages now. It took me a while to comprehend his words. As of 1300 hours, this building is under our control. Now do as we say. Go with this man right here. He finishes addressing us, then orders the other man in English.
Zai-san.
Usami mutters next to me. Yeah. A takeover? Being faced with something like that so suddenly, it just doesn't seem real. But if it's Maou, then... Okay. Hawaii looks over to us with a taut face. All we could do was put our hands up and obey them. Megalipses. Ellipses. My walkie-talkie beeped and informed me of the freshest news. So, you've got the computer room under control then. What about the 48th floor?
All clear.
They report. As you gather extra hostages, the more the better. Non-resistant women in particular would be optimal. After a while, there was a report from the rooftop.
The rooftop's secured.
Good. Was there anyone there?
An employee and 2 kids. We're currently heading to the 48th floor.
Very good. But kids? Did some employees' children sneak in? Either way, they'll make for good hostages. Megalipses. Ellipses. The light indicating the 48th floor lit up. Urged on by guns, we stepped off the elevator. We were greeted by a wide office, divided into partitions. A bunch of men and women had been rounded up near the window. There was a man with a gun looking down at them. The foreigners who had brought us down prompted us to join the herd of people. Zai-san, Hawaii whispered as he walked behind me. The passageway to the left leads to an emergency staircase. I look over in the direction he says, and there's an emergency exit light. It's about 10 meters away. Take Haruchan and run. Wait. What's he planning to do? However, Owai didn't care about my apprehensions. Right then, Owai began to moan behind me. It hurts! He falls to his knees. The foreigners behind us point his gun at Owai. Stand up! He shouts in English. Owai hunches over, holding his stomach in mock pain. The man shouts something again, and grabs Owai's suit. Ellipses! At that exact moment, I grab Usami's arm. Damn it! Usami almost tripped, but she manages to keep up. Stop! The sounds of a struggle rose up behind us. It was a veritable rain of gunfire, screams, and shouts. I just run in a frenzy. We turn into the passage and jump into the darkness of the emergency corridor. We jump down 2 or 3 stairs at a time in the dim light. Gunshots blare out again. Before my body can freeze from fear, I force my legs into their next step. I hear Usami's rough breathing beside me.
They're gaining on us.
Even now, Usami is composed. Thanks to her composure, she was able to notice the incoming footsteps above us. This isn't a game of tag. They're blazing down here with amazing speed. Usami, you keep running! On the landing of the stairwell, I suddenly stop running.
No!
Just do it! Our pursuers are already just 1 flight of stairs away. I can hear them breathing like hounds.
Azai-san!
Stop fucking around! This is no time to be arguing. I frantically run up the stairs I had just bolted down. Usami's sobs reach my ears. Yes, this is suicide. I'm making an unarmed stand against gun-toting terrorists. What a silly way to die, but it's rather fitting for swine such as myself.
Kyosuke-kun!
Megalipses. Ellipses. Ellipses. Megalipses. Did the hostages get away? Apparently, the 2 kids from before had run off. It's not a problem. Just go ahead and close the 46th door shutters. That should blockade the upper floors. Running around after a pair of kids is a waste of effort. We'll take complete control over the remaining top floors. We had wanted to take as many hostages as possible, but losing 1 or 2 won't hinder our plans. Return to your stations. For now, it's more important that the plan moves ahead uninterrupted. Suddenly, a strange noise echoed in the emergency stairwell. An alarm went off, and it was followed by a groaning, like a caterpillar backhoe forcing its way around a construction site. Shutters come down.
Watch out!
When I turn and look, I see a gun pointing in my direction. The bullet grazes my cheek. I lose my balance and fall to the ground. But there was no second bullet. A thick shutter had come down in front of me, saving us from the pursuers. I can finally breathe properly again.
Azai-san, are you hurt?
I'm fine. I have no idea what just happened, but I managed to escape death by a hair's breadth. My limbs freeze, then start shaking.
We were both in such a frenzy.
What about Owai? Usami silently shook her head. There was no way she could know. Megalipses. Ellipses. Another report came in. The kids had indeed gotten away. Apparently, an employee suddenly attacked one of the men in an attempt to cover for them. Is that brave man dead? They say they beat him with the back of their weapons until he lost consciousness. What a commendable man. Nurse him well. Now, I wonder how things are going on the outside. Ellipses. Megalipses.
Looks like we're on the 46th floor.
Yeah, and it seems like they've really taken the place over. I finally calmed down now. Why didn't you run like I told you to?
You've already saved me once recently.
What, the thing with Tokita? I was just frantic in the heat of the moment. Next time, you'd better listen to what I say.
Ellipses.
For now, let's just get out of this building.
But... Yuya-san.
There's nothing we can do for him now. I spoke without hesitation. It's not like we can barge in there and save him. What do you think he sacrificed himself for, anyway?
I know, but...
But what? Are you that indebted to him?
Well, yeah, but... What about Maou?
I couldn't help but laugh. Are you still trying to catch Maou? Have you even seen the movie Die Hard? I'm not Bruce fucking Willis! The boom from the gunshot that grazed me is still ringing in my ears. It's a miracle we're even alive. Usami finally nodded. She must have realized how desperate the situation is.
Anyway, this place is too dangerous.
Right. Let's get out of here.
Ellipses.
Come on, Haru. I don't want to put you in any more danger. My mouth started moving on its own.
Thanks.
It's like a curse. Anyone with their head on straight would want to run away in this situation. Is all this about the violin? Let's get out of here. We just have to leave the rest to the cops.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't thinking right earlier.
I gently put my hand on Usami's shoulder. They'll catch Maou eventually. Taking over a building is effectively closing off your escape routes.
Yeah. I hope, at least.
She looked like a hurt little girl. Let's go home and listen to some classical music. There was a clamor coming from the lower floors. Screams of, "Run! The elevator isn't working!" and the like filled the air. I take that to mean the people on the lower floors have been made aware of the uproar on the higher floors. Looks like we might be able to get out of here.
Yeah. Maou probably wouldn't see any point in keeping all 50 floors under surveillance.
Is she already trying to figure out Mao's reasoning?
From what we saw, there were about 10 hostages, and most likely the politician we saw earlier.
Right. Let's watch the news about it from home. I take Usami's hand and go down the stairs, one by one. Megalipses. Ellipses. That day, 1:30 p.m. A young police officer in a panic jumps into a police box somewhere along Tomenbetsu City's Central Boulevard. "There's trouble!" This phrase is shouted several times daily on Central Boulevard. After all, this tiny police kiosk is well known and stays busy. One day in Tomenbetsu's largest shopping center sees thousands of visitors who have lost their way, or worse, one of those personal articles. Come twilight, the police become involved in breaking up gaggles of street-walking prostitutes and any trouble that might arise in the brothels. There are drunken brawls and yakuza battles. The most common duty the officers at the station undertake, though, is the consultation of rowdy and misguided minors in an attempt to keep them out of trouble. As it was something he was used to dealing with every day, the police lieutenant on duty just continued browsing the sports column of the city newspaper. "It's the drugstore! It's being burnt down!" The lieutenant looked up. Several young men stood behind the new recruit, bearing the bad news. He had spoken to each of them many times about their antics. "What do you want?" The boys didn't answer. They were frighteningly expressionless. What the hell was up with that? There was a thumping noise. Behind the now fallen young officer, a blonde-haired boy was holding a gun. The lieutenant had no idea what was going on. Without giving him any time to think, another bullet fired from the barrel of the gun. The boys shout in delight and frolic about. They were so merry, as if they were playing with firecrackers. Okay, things are going to hell. That day, 1:35 p.m. Snow trickled down, even in the area of Sano Corporation headquarters. Originally started by Sano itself, the district colloquially known as Central Office now housed businesses from all over the world. It could be called the wallet of Tomenbetsu City. There are a number of roads within 200-yard radius of the Sano building. It was a system of alleyways that surrounded the building, like a network of blood vessels. On weekends, one often saw trucks carrying an assortment of goods through these narrow paths. One large truck sat ensconced in an alleyway. It was parked sideways in the road, blocking the passage. It was almost like an embolism to this vessel. "Listen, you dumbass! What the fuck are you thinking?" A rather crass man approached the truck with a loud voice. He was ready to let the driver have it. But, for whatever odd reason, the driver was dressed in military garb. "We finished blockading the entire north section." He muttered something strange into his walkie-talkie. Who the hell are you?" The crass man's voice turned inside out for good reason, as the driver had just put his finger on the trigger of a gun. By the time the man had even begun to try to escape, it was too late. Is it the military? No, this guy is much too insane for. That day, 2:30 p.m. The captain of the 3rd Squad of the Tokyo Police Guard Division was anxious over the fact that regular reports from one of his team had stopped coming in. Normally, security police are only out on Secret Service duty for politicians around election time. But when the person in question is Imagawa Tsuneo, things are different. Imagawa had been very ardent recently in his proposals of pro-US policies. Consequently, this earned him the ire of not only the opposing party, but also the radical extremists within the country. Worried over the threat letters and prank phone calls he was getting nearly every day, he requested protection from the Tokyo police. What could have happened? As bodyguards for the most important government official, the SP are picked from among the most talented police cadets. Their skills in both firearms and hand-to-hand combat exceeded those of normal men in uniform. So, for them to go down without even having time to call for help was almost unthinkable. Unease was attacking the police captain in his patrol car when he heard a loud roar. However, it did not come from the building. It came from the direction of Central Boulevard. Upon inspection, it seemed there had been a fire, as black smoke was rising into the sky. There were multiple columns of smoke. Did a gas station ignite or something? People started pouring from the building entrance. They had panicked looks in their eyes. They came out carrying nothing but the clothes on their backs. Apparently there were people who had fallen and were being trampled underfoot, as you could hear their screams and roars coming from the inside. What's going on here? The moment the officer stepped out of his car, it happened. The sound of unfamiliar gunfire tore through the area. The guns officially issued to police officers, such as himself, could not make the rapid noises he was hearing. People fell to the ground like mosquitoes, and the screams grew even more wild. The officer was quick to contact the local police station. However, even after some time, there was no response. The only explanation he could come up with was that the police were fully mobilized in the state of emergency. He heard the rat-a-tat-a-tat sound once more. Superimposed on it was a calm voice that seemed to stand out against the ongoing pandemonium. Good afternoon. A young man walked just a step in front of the two other machine-gun-toting men. He leaned over and snatched the walkie-talkie from the officer. Once you secure your frontline base of operations, contact me at the following cell phone number. After that, he just boldly walked away. The officer couldn't even speak up. The items that the two men at his side were holding weren't mere toys. A group of 3 men were randomly firing off submachine guns, as if to spur on the people running about in panic. Blankets of black smoke covered the sky. The screams and cries reverberated without end. Before his very eyes, the sort of Middle Eastern riot you might see on television was unfolding in all its horror. And the very next moment, a muzzle was pointed at his face. Megalipses. Ellipses.